Mr. Sauer, you and I brought the student loan debt forgiveness case. We won at the Supreme Court, and Joe Biden said, the Supreme Court blocked me. That didn't stop me. So this lawlessness we've seen over the last 4 years, all of a sudden my Democrat friends have found religion on abiding by Supreme Court decisions. Ms. Dhillon, I want to ask you a couple questions. My colleagues on the other side tell us that you're a threat to civil rights. The truth is, I think you're one of the fiercest advocates of civil rights in a generation. On paper, civil rights are supposed to mean protection from discrimination based on characteristics like race. In practice, the entire civil rights bureaucracy as it currently exists is a vehicle for an entrenched new system of discrimination based on race. The left is right about one thing, in my view. There is systemic racism that exists in America today, but it's not Jim Crow or redlining or our criminal justice system. It's the pervasive racial discrimination that exists against Asians, whites, and other disfavored groups that take place now on college campuses, in the boardrooms of Fortune 500 companies, even in the halls of our own government. It goes by a bunch of different names, principally equity or DEI or CRT. You can go on. But whatever you want to call it, it's wrong. And it has to stop. As Chief Justice Roberts eloquently put it, the best way to stop discrimination on the basis of race is to stop discriminating on the basis of race. And that's one of the reasons I like you. I think, unlike most quote-unquote major civil rights organizations today, you oppose racial discrimination in all forms. So I want to ask you, is reverse racism still racism?
Thank you for the question, Senator. I don't even use the term reverse racism. It's just racism to discriminate on the basis of race.
I agree with you. And do civil rights protections apply equally to all races?
In my view, yes, they do, Senator.
Okay. In my view, we've got to root out this wokeism and this discrimination that's been under the cover, this cultural Marxism of DEI, that I'm glad President Trump is taking out of the federal government, but you've seen this obviously play out in the private sector as well. In 2023, the company, Target, the store, explicitly stated that as part of its REACH initiative, it wanted to hire 20% more black employees in overt racial quota system. Title VII of the Civil Rights Act prohibits discrimination in employment based on race, color, religion, sex, and national origin. Racial quotas violate our civil rights. Does Target's practice of having racial quotas raise red flags for you?
Well, Senator, if the facts are as you just described them, I believe that practice is illegal and unconstitutional.
And so one of the things that I find fascinating from the last administration, against companies like SpaceX, for example, the Biden administration brought hundreds of civil rights actions. How many actions did the Biden administration bring against DEI racial quotas? Are you aware?
I'm not aware of any, Senator.
Well, I know the answer to it. It's Blutarski. It's 0.0. None. Because this is the truth. My friends on the other side had a system in place that needs to fundamentally be dismantled. The left views this, again, as cultural Marxism, a way to divide the room by race, and it's tearing this country apart. You have a really important role that you're going to step into when you're confirmed. I think you're going to get confirmed to try to end this. We shouldn't have racial quotas in this country. People should be judged on their merits. We need to bring merit back. It's not a four-letter word. It's actually a bedrock principle that's made this country such a great place. And regardless of your skin color, you should have every opportunity to succeed. But you also shouldn't be held back because of your skin color either. And again, I think this leftist movement that the Democrats have been captured by, they totally lost the plot, and the American people have rejected it. Part of what the American people did in November, I think, is they sat in that jury box and they watched all this craziness over the last 4 years, and they rejected it. And you, given your background and your experience, and I think your grit to fight these tough fights, I couldn't think of anybody more qualified to do the job that you're about to do. So congratulations, and you have my support. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Schmitt, and I would like the record to reflect, I believe this is the first time in the history of the Republic the word Blutarski has been used in the Senate Judiciary Committee. And with that, Senator Schiff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Sauer, you've served as one of the President's defense lawyers. Should cases arise in the Justice Department involving the same cases in which you represented him, will you recuse yourself?
Senator, thank you for the question. As reflected in the ethics agreement that I have signed and in the regulations of the Department of Justice, as to any matter that were to come before me that might require a recusal obligation, I would consult